You know, a short time ago, we launched our own, if you will, speakeasy right here on knowthecause.com, where we don't have to rely on other social media platforms. We can just come here and talk. I interviewed for the past couple of hours a dear friend of mine, my wife and I, Dr. Lee Cowden, who is a cardiologist. And I'd like to talk with him because Dr. Cowden kind of moved into teaching physicians around the world. Cardiology, preventive medicine, internal medicine, et cetera. And because of his prevention approach, I wanted to talk with him about what he's doing to stay safe during the advent of all these strange viri that are floating around. Dr. Cowden, welcome to the show and thank you. I'm a beta-glucan, probiotic, vitamin C, kind of guy, exercise and so forth. And I think smiling does a lot to help the etiology, whatever is going on here with all these strange organisms. Where is your heart on the past 2 years, 3 years from a stress standpoint and from a prevention standpoint? I know your business, ACIM, is kind of on pause. How has that affected your life? Or personally, what are you doing to stay strong during these times?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost is keeping a strong relationship with God. If you don't do that, everything else is lost. But beyond that, I think there's things that we can be doing on a mental, emotional level. One of the things I have patients do is what I call visualization, shouting, and forgiving. And so I'll just give your folks a brief summary of that. You go by yourself someplace where you're not going to be disturbed and you're not going to disturb anyone else. And when you're in that place, you close your eyes, you visualize the face of a person that you have some unresolved anger, frustration toward, and you start shouting at them as if they're there with you. They're not there with you, it's just you in the air. But you shout whatever comes to mind. Don't be judgmental about what you have to shout in order to get the raw emotion of anger out. And then when there's nothing more to shout about that person, you shout at the next person, the next, and you work your way forward to the closest people in your life, either the parents, that if they're still alive, especially the spouse, the children, the grandchildren, anybody else that you might have anger toward. And then the last person you shout at is yourself, okay? Because oftentimes we have anger towards ourselves because of something we did or failed to do, said, or failed to say. And if we don't get that out, then it creates disease, especially in our gallbladder and bile ducts and liver. And after you finish shouting at everyone, then you, with your eyes still closed, you're still visualizing everybody in reverse order. So you see yourself first at all of your ages, from the time you were very small until your present age, and you forgive yourself at all of those ages. Then you forgive your parents at all their ages. Then you forgive all those other people that you had to shout at up to that point. And then after you finish forgiving everybody, if you have a relationship with God, then you just do a little prayer. God, I'm sorry for the anger and frustration I've had. Please forgive me for that. Please remove the roots of the anger and frustration from me, both consciously and subconsciously. And please replace those roots with your love, joy, and peace. So that's a 3-part process: shouting, 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 forgiving, 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 and then asking God's forgiveness. And very powerful. If you experience other types of emotions as you're doing the shouting, let them come out too. If you have to stop and cry, stop and cry. If you have to stop and tremble, stop and tremble.
It's a good point because so much of our stress is self-imposed, if you think about it that way. I tend, see, that's something new to me. What's her name? You've had her on the podium so many years. Michelle, you know who I'm talking about, Dr. Cowden?
Well, Schrader.
Schrader,
Awesome.
yeah. The effect of stress and life's events on you, boy, is she a powerful speaker. Now, psychologically, physiologically, what do you personally do? How have you stayed well through all of this?
Well, this is a simple technique. If you put your left index and thumb together and wrap your right hand around it and lay that in your lap, you're using your right hand to hold your left index and thumb together, and you close your eyes, start visualizing yourself someplace in nature, by yourself, not with somebody else, because you'll think about their stuff, the stuff between you and them, and it may not be relaxing. So you go there by yourself, and then you start breathing in through the nose to warm the air, hold for a second, breathe out through the mouth. And you keep breathing like that, holding your left index and thumb and visualizing for about 4 minutes. and that will take down the level of stress in your body significantly, especially if you practice it regularly. And it only takes about 4 minutes before every meal, 4 minutes before every bedtime to become really conditioned and skilled at that. And so then if you're in a stressful situation, you just say to the person that's around you, excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom. So you go to the bathroom, sit on the toilet, whether you take your pants down or not, and you know, hold your left index and thumb, deep breathe, visualize, and get rid of the stressors before you come back out and try to deal with life. Now, a lot of people don't realize that the stress is elevating their cortisol levels. The cortisol is suppressing the immune system. So by doing this, you improve your immune system significantly. In addition, you improve your digestion significantly, especially if you do it right before every meal, right before every bedtime. You improve your sleep quality if you do it before bedtime. So there's a lot of benefits from that simple technique, and it costs nothing, a little bit of time.
Mm. You know, as a cardiologist, you are also, I'm sure, in pre-med, trained about the intricacies of the immune system. I had COVID on my 70th birthday. We didn't know what it was back then. It hadn't been named yet, but I got sick and then I got better, just like the flu. I hadn't been sick in 40 years before that. And I now have passive immunity. And I was reading my audience something out of an old 1980s medical textbook on immunology. Dr. Joe Belanti said that passive immunity, active immunity trumps passive immunity every time. And I got to think about vaccinations and so forth. I had a lot of them before I went to Vietnam, and here I am today. After doing a lot of detox, I think that benefited me. But where's your take on that? As a doctor, as someone trained in cardiology, might it be better physiologically or immunologically for us to have had COVID or to have been vaccinated against COVID? Where's your heart on that?
Oh, it's clearly far superior from the research if we've had COVID illness, because we're not just developing antibodies and T cells against the spike protein, we're developing antibodies and T cells against all the different proteins that are in that intact virus. And so it's clearly far superior. There was a research done that showed that if you tested the T cells for people that had SARS illness in 2003, that they had immune cross-reaction to the COVID 17 years later. Okay, so that shows you that the T cell immunity lasts at least 17 years, and the vaccine immunity does not last but a few months, three months they estimate.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's clearly the way to go is to get the illness, survive the illness, and have a lifetime immunity.
Do you like any immune stimulating? I know that's a buzzword now, immune system, especially the last few years. Are there any dietary recommendations or supplements you might recommend to stay steady on the wheel, to really arm your immune defenses?
Well, if you're eating enough junk foods, probably you can't take enough pills to fix it. So that's the first thing. If you're sitting on the couch all the time, your immune system's down and your lymphatic system's down, and you probably can't fix that with pills either. Mm-hmm. So you got to be doing physical activity, eating a clean diet, and then you supplement. Now, one of the most important immune factors is called the T cell function, the natural killer lymphocyte function. And there's a test that will test for that, natural killer lymphocyte function. You can get the test through Quest Laboratories and certain other laboratories. But the Chinese developed a combination herbal product with 14 herbs in it a couple of thousand years ago that now has been researched in U.S. universities and found to be the most effective thing at improving the natural killer lymphocyte function. It increases NK function by 400%. And the brand name for that product is called Protectival, Protectival, Protectival.
Wow. Is it available commercially, Protectival?
Available commercially, yeah.
Wow. Are you taking that?
I just learned about it recently, so I'm
Okay.
going to start doing that as soon as it gets here.
I'll go halves with you. We'll try this. Like I said, I'm a beta glucan guy. Love it. I think it's protected me quite well. You're just such a wealth of information, such knowledge. I wish I had. I so appreciate you coming in here and sharing your thoughts, and I'm sure people got 4 or 5 bits of information out of this that are going to benefit them. God bless you, Lee. You've been a dear friend for decades. Love seeing you, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, God bless you too, Doug.
Thank you.